The United Kingdom is ready to deploy troops to Ukraine. European allies prepare to deploy at least 30,000 soldiers to the front lines. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has begun negotiations with Putin and Zelensky over a ceasefire. How could the UK enter the fight in Ukraine, and what is going on in the negotiations on the war in Ukraine? British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is ready to send British troops to Ukraine to enforce a peace agreement. This is stated in the British Prime Minister's article for The Telegraph. Starmer writes that Europe is now facing a once-in-a-generation moment for the collective security of our continent. According to Starmer, this is not just a question of the future of Ukraine, it is vital importance for all of Europe. Securing a lasting peace in Ukraine, which guarantees its sovereignty in the long term, is necessary to deter Putin from further aggression in the future. He added that the UK can play a unique role in facilitating this. Britain is ready to take a key role in accelerating work on security guarantees. According to Starmer, this includes continued support for the armed forces of Ukraine, as well as the introduction of our troops into the country if necessary. Starmer also announced his meeting with US President Trump in the upcoming days, as well as work with all G7 partners. He is confident that Ukraine must be at the negotiating table, because otherwise Putin will agree that Ukraine is not a real state. He stressed that there is a crucial days ahead that will determine the future security of the continent. Meanwhile, European states that support the idea of deploying their military in Ukraine to monitor a ceasefire may send a total of 25,000–30,000 troops. This is stated in the publication of the Washington Post. The number of potential military contingents that Europe can sell to Ukraine was revealed in the responses to US letter, where they were asked European countries to detail their capabilities to support Kyiv. According to the Washington Post sources, currently European states are ready to provide several brigades for potential deployment in Ukraine, with an estimate number of 25,000–30,000. However, European military will not be deployed along the contact line, but will ready to demonstrate force if Russian troops resume the war. In addition, the troops in Ukraine may be supported by a longer number of forces beyond its borders in case they need to quickly build up forces and advance. According to the publication, the most throughout military planning for such mission has been carried out by France. It is estimated that it can allocate about 10,000 troops. Also, two sources tell the Washington Post that other European states are still more worried or face problems associated with limited armed forces. The United States has previously admitted the possibility of deploying peacekeepers to Ukraine to monitor a truce, but stated that American troops would not participate in such mission. On the other hand, French President Emmanuel Macron revealed the results of the emergency summit in Paris and reported on his conversation with US President Trump and President Zelensky. Macron noted that after a meeting with leaders of the European states and the EU leadership, which he convened in Paris, he had separate conversation with Trump and Zelensky. Quote, "We want a strong and lasting peace in Ukraine. To achieve this, Russia must stop its aggression, and this must be accompanied by strong, reliable security guarantees. Otherwise, there is a great risk. What is this truce will end? The Minsk agreements." He says that they will work on this together with all European allies. This is the key. He continues that the leaders are convinced that Europe should invest more in defense and increase competitiveness for the needs of the present and the future. However, not all European countries are ready to send troops to Ukraine. Alongside the United Kingdom and Great Britain, Poland did not support this idea. Denmark's Mette Frederiksen says that many things needed to be clarified before troops can be sent to Ukraine. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that after the meetings that any debate on peacekeepers for Ukraine was completely premature and highly inappropriate while the war continued. Germany opposes the potential deployment of a peacekeeping mission in Ukraine involving European countries if the US does not participate. A German government told AFP, quote, "We will not participate in scenarios in which European and American security policies diverge. For example, if European soldiers are deployed without full US involvement." The United States has previously publicly admitted the possibility of deploying peacekeepers to Ukraine to monitor a truce, but has stated that American troops will not participate in such mission. At the same time, Baltic countries are ready to commit troops for Ukraine. Lithuanian Foreign Minister Kęstutis Budrys believes that after the war in Ukraine ends, it may be necessary to send hundreds of thousands of soldiers to deter Russia from aggression in the future. According to him, even if negotiations between Russia and Ukraine take place, decisions might be made to prevent Russian aggression in the future, and one of them is sending troops from European states. At the same time, he calls the fact that European countries are ready to discussing this out an achievement. Speaking about a possible peace or truce, Budrys noted that he does not believe that Russia will adhere to an agreement. Meanwhile, negotiations between the US and Russian delegations have begun in Saudi Arabia. The parties in Saudi Arabia will discuss economic cooperation and the settlement of the war. Negotiations are attended by the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, US National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, US Envoy Steve Witkoff, as well as Saudi Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farman Al Saud and Saudi National Security Advisor Mohammed bin Mohammed Al Aban. The goal of the talks is to set a date for Trump-Putin to meet before the start of the holy month of Ramadan in March. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that he was unaware of the Saudi meeting and expressed concerns that the plan was developed outside the Ukraine's control. He had previously said that Kyiv would never agree to deals made behind Ukrainian backs. Also, a Ukrainian official told Politico that the news of the Saudi talks came as a surprise to Kyiv, and there are no plans to send Ukrainian delegation at this time. US President Trump himself said on Thursday that a summit with Putin in a Gulf country would take place soon, and he said Ukrainians would attend this. Saudi Arabia has invited representatives from the US, Russia and Ukraine to meeting in Riyadh. The source says that talks will be convened by the Saudi National Security Advisor Mossad Al-Iban. He is close to the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and has been represented in talks with Iran, as well as with Washington on a defense and strategic cooperation agreement and the prospect of normalizing relations with Israel. It is unclear what role Special Representative for Ukraine and Russia Kit Kellogg will play in this regard. However, General Kellogg will visit Ukraine this week and will meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. That's all for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay with us on YouTube, and glory to Ukraine!